Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Kate Byrne and I am the course director of English at Ulster University. And today I'm going to be talking you through some aspects of the BA undergraduate degree with us here. I'll be telling you a little bit about English and some of the combinations you can take English with if you fancy doing it alongside another subject. I must apologise for my nasal voice because I still have the cold, so I don't always sound this snotty. Apologies. So today I'm going to talk through, some of the advantages of studying English and giving you some more information about the kind of things you could learn and how you'll be taught. And I've also got some perspectives from our former students. The main reason really that you should consider studying English at Ulster, obviously I'm biased, I've been teaching here for several years now, but the main reason really is because most of our students have had a really positive experience here. You can see I've got the satisfaction rating from our NSS in 2018, which was 100%. I think since then we've gone down just a couple of points. We're always in the 90s. You can compare that with other universities and other English departments, but I think you'll find that's pretty high statistic, unusually high statistic. So our students themselves have had a great time studying English here, and they've got really nice things to say about us. As you can see, here's just a couple of last year's students kind of giving us some feedback, and they've really enjoyed their degree for reasons which hopefully you'll see over the next few minutes. And so we've really kind of, it's been clear to us that we're doing things right and that your degree should be a fun experience. Obviously it needs to lead to a job in the end, and it is a stepping stone to a further career, but it should also be something that you really enjoy for 3 years. And the main thing is really, if you like reading, you enjoy books, or we also teach TV and film, that it'll be something you can really kind of broaden your own experience with and immerse yourself in. Yes, you end up with a BA, but also that you've kind of really properly learned things about the world in doing so. So if you wish to take English at Coleraine, most of our students take straight English, as we call it, which is just the BA Hons English. But if you're interested in teaching, you can consider doing English with a minor of education. Or if you like history, it works well alongside history as well. And there's various bits and pieces you can do of other subjects, which you end up with something we call a combined degree. Journalism is another option if you're interested in a career in journalism in the future. This really just divides up your degree and how many modules you take. So you'll be doing 6 modules a year in total. And if you do English as a straight subject, you'll do all 6. More about those in a second. If you want to do it as a major, for example, with, say, education, you take 4 modules of English a year and 2 of education. That's all kind of boring slotting together of the degree, but it just to show you've got a bit of flexibility there. Some people actually start English with another subject, and if they decide they like English better, they can change back. It's just a matter of filling in a form to change the parameters of your degree in the first year. So we like you to keep your options open. And again, as I say, do subjects you'll really enjoy and really be able to, so it doesn't feel like work, it should feel like fun as well. So in the English degree alone, I won't talk so much about the minors, the options today, but for the English degree alone, what you study, well, the most important texts of all kinds, say novels, plays and poems there, but actually, as I said, we do look at television and film as well, more and more in recent years. We look at things like adverts, and so we're quite wide in what our sense of what a text might be. And we look at literature and how it's changed over the centuries. And we, most importantly, I think, look at literature. It tells us about our world today, what it tells us about human beings and their understanding of their lives. And much of our degree is now becoming increasingly 21st century now as well, although you will kind of have a historical background going back to Shakespeare's time too. I've always kind of, when I'm asked what good an English degree does, because of course you won't be maybe reading books every day in the same way in your future life, but as I hope is apparent to many of you already, but if it's not, something to think about, the skills that we'll teach here in the undergraduate are ones which are transferable to any job. You might not be directing them at books, but you'll be doing them in other ways. Things like problem solving, research skills. A large part of our degree is kind of a research component. Constructing an argument, and perhaps most importantly, and something we teach perhaps more than other degrees, is how to write and speak and communicate your argument persuasively and well. There's an emphasis on how you communicate doing an English degree, which more so than in other degrees. Basically, no matter what job you're in, from a huge range of career perspectives, being able to communicate well is the most important thing you'll ever learn. And we make a real point about teaching that both through oral presentations and writing essays and so on, so that you'll leave here not just with a great understanding of culture, but also with an ability to sell yourself and your argument extremely well. So I'm just going to talk about next about the kind of shape of the degree and tell you a little bit more about the kind of things you might want to study. For many of our students, that's really the main thing, is like the choices that you get. So the first year covers the kind of the basics. We have quite a range of texts. We've been recently teaching Game of Thrones in the first semester and Pride and Prejudice. You can see the kind of, mix up that we've got. Second year, you get a wide choice of modules that you can pick from. So that you should be making the degree tailored to your own interests. So perhaps if after first year you really enjoy poetry, say, you can pick modules that are based around poetry. Or if you really like kind of, Gothic studies, you can kind of follow Gothic-y vampire stuff throughout your degree as well. You have the option of a placement year. You don't have to take it, but there is in your kind of second or third year, the possibility that you might want to study abroad or to take a placement, and we can help you organize that. And then final year, more optional modules and also a dissertation of your own choice, which, as you may or may not know, is a kind of a bigger project which you can research on absolutely anything you want. And we have quite a lot of very random and diverse topics that students really want to take. We've had things from Harry Potter to 50 Shades of Grey in those dissertations. So it really is absolutely anything that you've enjoyed and you want to put the skills that you've learnt to work on. And that's done with the help of a supervisor, but it is your own independent study, but that's not until year 3. So we do kind of, I'll be talking about more in a minute about the kind of flexibility and the wide range of texts we do, but we do also give you a guided tour of English literature. So you will do some Shakespeare here, and you kind of go up covering kind of key authors until the 21st century, as well as some kind of more obscure people that you may not have heard of, or people which aren't strictly speaking literary in that they are more popular culture, or mainstream writers who are bestsellers but aren't considered high art and literature. And we give that mix, I think, very well, and our students really respond well to that. Here's an example of some of the optional modules you can pick from in your second and third year, and as you can see, they're pretty diverse. We've got sort of more straightforward things like American literature and Shakespeare and Renaissance studies. But I teach a module myself on detective fiction, where we look at things like Knives Out, as well as Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes. We've got depictions, we've got explorations of slavery in a module. We've got a new module on pandemic fiction, which explores the way books have responded to pandemics in literature, and of course very close to home because we've all just lived through a pandemic. And so that range of different choices means that you will get something that you like, that you really enjoy studying in your time here. Again, I mention that because it's not true of every degree that you'll study in English. Sometimes you get very narrow prescribed options in some universities, including ones I went to. I didn't get this option to pick whatever I wanted, so I think it is important. And I think it's one of the reasons that students really like our degree and the shape of it and the way it works. If you're interested particularly in creative writing, or in writing, becoming a journalist, publishing your work, there are also modules specifically tailored to help you with that. And the first one on that list there, writing and publishing, gives a good example of that. I think that is a module which will help you hone your creative skills. So even if you're not doing journalism as a minor, in some ways, those modules will help you write for publication. And quite a lot of our students do go on to publish their own work. It's important aspect of their degree here. What does a typical week look like? I suppose this is pretty standard, I guess, for most English degrees, but just in case you don't already know, roughly 9 contact hours a week. That means it's 9 hours you'll have to be physically on the campus, but plus personal study at home. You can do that anywhere, anywhere you can put your feet up and read a book for an hour. You do group work, individual work, like your dissertation. We say blended learning there because a lot of our work is is supported by online resources. And of course, during the pandemic, we moved to online for a year or two there, but we're back on campus now at the moment. And we have a great deal of kind of support available for you if you do work, if you just come to campus a few days a week, but you need help working remotely as well. I've got here a sample reading list. This is just, as I said, there's a wide number of modules you could pick from in your second and third year. This is from my own module, which is a woman's writing, a kind of feminism module called From the Vote to the Pill. And I just put this up just to give you a sense of the kind of range of texts we might study on one particular module. As you can see there, we go from kind of classic, I do a bit about the suffragettes and the first women to get the vote. Move to classic fiction like Rebecca. You might know that because it was recently adapted on Netflix, even if you've not read the original text from the 30s. We look at a bit of television. I look at To Call the Midwife because it's one of my research areas that I publish on, so we talk about that. And Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, and I May Destroy You. So you can see the kind of range of sort of from I've had to cut a few out for brevity there, but a range of kind of classic texts like de Beauvoir's The Second Sex, which was a famous, huge feminist book from the middle of the 20th century, right up to contemporary television, and that sort of sums up some of the range of texts you can study with us here. And also in week 12 there, that's referring back to some of the things I was saying about teaching you to communicate your argument well. Students do, as bit of their assessment, a presentation on anything they want that's to do with feminism. So they do, I've had presentations on certain advertisements, TV shows, I've had a few on Beyonce and key feminist figures like that. Basically, they're applying the feminism that they've learned in the module to the culture that surrounds them. I've had a presentation on the Kardashians as well. So the idea is that you kind of learn the skills, the ideas, in this case, of the waves of modern feminism, and you can apply them to anything. And that's kind of what we want you to learn about the degree in general, kind of the ideas of literature and theory applied to your modern world, the world that you live in and inhabit and have to cope with. How do we support you? That positive kind of NSS score didn't just come from having a wide range of texts. One-to-one mentoring, student buddies. We always have an open door policy. I think I can say in all honesty, I think the most important thing about our teaching methods here is that we are friendly and approachable, and we do go the extra mile to help students. We're quite a small department, and as a result, we can really spend the time on making sure that you're happy and supporting you throughout your degree. And our class sizes tend to be small as well as a result. We also have employability and career sessions kind of built into the degree to give you that sense that you are working towards a job at the end, and we help you with things like your CV and other things that will be important to you when you finish your 3 years here. We also provide other skills that will help you in your future life, future careers, opportunities to work in outreach projects. The picture there, the Seamus Heaney Home Place, is just one example, because we do have students here currently working in partnership with the Home Place to kind of build their careers and their experience. These are all really good benefits for your CV as well. So opportunities really to contribute to university projects in lots of different ways. And we also have a creative writing magazine called The Paperclip, which a lot of students, is edited by the students themselves, and a lot of students publish their creative work in that, which is an important stepping stone into doing writing as a career. You can see, hopefully, just about in the photographs there, people dressed up as part of a project, again, and I think that was and part of the kind of ongoing outreach activities of the English department. We're not just confined in the university itself. We have mindful of the things that employers want. What the employers from all wide range of careers have told us they want are these things like project managing, working in teams, which our students are encouraged to do, articulating and communicating ideas. Of course, though, is the main one, as I've mentioned already. And our students have gone on to enter a wide range of future careers. The obvious ones are things like the civil service, marketing, again, that plays to your strengths with communication. But we have students who've entered journalism, who work for the BBC in Northern Ireland in various ways. And indeed, we've had published writers and other people who've entered the creative industries in different ways, moving out of our degree into the workplace as well. I haven't mentioned really up to now our campus itself. We are, if you'll know the North Coast, if you've been involved in the Northwest or even the Gulf, you might know it already. We do live in a very beautiful part of the world. It rains a little too much for my liking, but it is extremely beautiful. We're right beside the sea. A lot of our students learn to surf or involved in other water activities. We have kind of lovely leafy campus with very attractive places you can walk and take your dog, and of course it's a popular tourist area anyway, close to the seaside towns of Portrush and Portstewart, which some of you might well know from your holidays in the past. So those are all just a few minutes away. We've also got the Riverside Theatre on campus, so we do get plays and other functions kind of coming literally to the campus, which is useful because we are a little far away from Belfast, so we need those sort of things to keep us in touch. And we have kind of things like a waterfall on campus and stuff like that. I don't think we got a picture of that there, but it is very pretty, especially in the spring. We'd usually take you on trips and show you that kind of thing. We're quite close to Game of Thrones, a place Game of Thrones was filmed, so we do a trip on that as well. Okay, so just a brief overview, as you can see there, of the kind of things that are offered. I've listed there the career opportunities. A lot of our students do enter teaching. They do the PGCE when they finish, which is a year, and they finish, and then they go on to be there are qualified teachers then. But lots of other opportunities for different types of work. Our assessment varies: coursework, essays, examinations, as I said, presentations, even podcasts now. And you kind of learn the skills that you would learn with any English degree, but with that little bit extra, as I said, of modernity and flexibility. Our degree goes right up to the present day. It really engages with the 21st century and the issues from the environment to racism, to sexism that are confronting our world today, and really makes you think about those in new and important ways and gives you the tools for dealing with them. There's a little bit more of what I think of as the boring stuff, but it is important as kind of English, whether you decide to do it as a major or to take it alongside another subject, as I said in the beginning. And moving towards the end, you know, we try to be flexible, we stay up to date, we move with the times, and we're always kind of shaped by our own research activities. We all publish and write and research in our different fields, and we've just done well in our ref, which reflects that. There is sometimes a little change modules a year of entry, but if you contact me as course director, I can send you the most up-to-date information and answer any questions that you might have about applying here in a year or two's time. And that is my email address. The study at Ulster is, I think, a general admissions email, but I am the course director, k.byrne@ulster.ac.uk, and I can send you any information you might need and answer any questions that you might have. Our entry requirements change slightly every year, so I think that's why the study at Ulster is probably the best place to check those for the time that you'll be entering or applying to Ulster. Okay, take care everybody, good luck, and I'll hopefully see you soon.